Final time this season on a road course. They come down to the line looking for the green flag.
Strap in and hang on. Here we go. He wants the lead at Watkins Glen.
Trouble in turn one. The third place automobile is spun right out into the face of traffic.
Kyle Busch works off turn number 11. Coming down to the line, he'll become the first driver since 2003 to sweep both Sprint Cup road races in a season. And he wins here today at Watkins Glen International.
There were no winners at Watkins Glen International on Sunday. Rain washed out the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race for the second straight weekend. But the track is now dry, and we're ready to drop the rag and get down to business at the Glen. Tony Stewart knows his way around this track, and he's looking to extend his points lead and build some momentum with just 5 races to go until the chase. Jimmy Johnson is still looking for his first road course win, and he looks to chip into Smoke's points lead 1 race at a time. Several other road course aces have their sights on a win here at the Glen today. Forget about your Monday afternoon soap operas. Today's plot has more twists and turns than you could ever think of. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is coming to you live from Watkins Glen.
Yay, yay.
Normally at this time the crowd would go wild, but there's not much of a crowd here in Victory Lane with us on this bonus edition of NASCAR Race Day. And you know, 1 weekend in a row, that's one thing. 2 weekends in a row, rain has washed out NASCAR's top series from racing. But here we are back on a Monday once again. And bosses out there, if you have that fanatic NASCAR fan in your office and they called in sick today, don't believe them. They're here to watch the race. Got Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace in tow, and guys, we're back on another Monday, but having fun.
Baby, I'm stretching out. You know, let me say something. All the executives, like the guys that lead all the teams, they went home yesterday. Matter of fact, I don't see any speed executives in our TV compound. Everybody's skadoodled.
They're smarter than us.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something, race fans. You know, we're all tough. I mean, for example, check my pythons out, but 2 rainouts in a row, it's starting to kill these race teams. What's going on is we're getting rid of all the Mondays. Mondays are when everybody hits the reset button, gets ready for the next week. 1 Monday's bad enough, 2 Mondays spent. It's getting hard, but now these guys are going to have to muscle up because it's a long travel all the way up to Michigan again.
Don't matter, Kenny.
I agree.
There's 5 to go. It rained out yesterday, but today we're going to have a race at the Glen. There's going to be some changing in the points. There's 4 or 5 guys that's got to get in if they're going to have a shot at this championship. Let's face it, Kyle Busch needs to have a good day. Matt Kenseth and DeBiff, they got to hang on to where that 11th and 12th is. How about Rudick? Can he rally today? It doesn't matter what anybody says. The points are on the line today. The crews have to perform. I know I miss you, honey. I'll be home. Well, that's the way it's got to be. You have to perform today, Johnny, if you're going to have a good day, because then, if you don't, you can't blame anybody but yourself.
About the only thing we know for certain is eventually we will have somebody standing here as a winner in Victory Lane at the Glen. But that may take a while to find out when that's going to happen. But for more, let's go now to Wendy Venturini, who has a nice update on the weather this time. Wendy?
I sure do. Good Monday morning, race fans. We're glad for this bonus edition. I can't believe 30 seconds into the show and Kenny Wallace is showing his biceps. We're off to a stellar start again. All right, weather for today. The current weather right now in Watkins Glen, New York, very beautiful and sunny, 82 degrees. And the humidity's down a lot more than it was yesterday, 69%, partly sunny, and it is a little bit breezy and a little bit windy here at the racetrack this morning. Now there are some rain in the forecast for this evening, right around 5 o'clock tonight, but hopefully we'll be done with Victory Lane and out of Watkins Glen by then. So hopefully the rain holds off and we continue to have nice sunny weather until that green flag drops and we get this race in today. Now, what does this mean for the teams, the drivers, the owners? As Spencer and Kenny were just talking about, this is 2 Mondays in a row we've been racing. It's thrown a wrench into our schedule with all the rain we've had this summer season so far. A lot of the teams had to reschedule commercial flights, extend hotels. The private planes had to get held one more night, and a lot of the travel agents back at the teams were busy on the phones all day and all evening on Sunday, rescheduling everybody's plans. Throws a wrench into it, but nonetheless, we're here on this Monday morning in Watkins Glen. We'll get the race in, and we'll be headed on to Michigan on Thursday afternoon. Now, for more what's going on in that garage area and what these teams could do to these race cars before they came here to pit road, let's head over to Hermie Sadler. Good Monday morning, Hermie.
Well, good morning, Wendy, and let the record state for the first time ever, I agree with Jimmy Spencer. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday or Monday. These teams and drivers have got to get focused on this race. It's very, very important. Now, getting to these race cars that are behind me on pit road, They could not touch them this morning. They went through inspection yesterday. All they can do this morning is basically warm them up and get them ready to go on the racetrack. So if the setup was for yesterday, overcast conditions, some of these guys could be in trouble today. Then we talk about this race being a wild card race. It's because so much stuff is different, beginning with how these drivers come to pit road. They drive down pit road, turn the car right into the pit stall. The pit crews come around to driver's side first. They practice this at the shops, but they only do it once a year here at Watkins Glen. Could be some opportunities to make mistakes. Back to the racetrack. Instead of having 4 corners, we've got 11 turns and shifting. A lot more opportunities to make mistakes. Instead of 1 spotter here, we have 2 and 3 spotters. More opportunities to make mistakes. And these mistakes can be costly. Why? Because at this race today, because this is such a long racetrack, and with the new wave around rule, we will see virtually every car that's running at the end of this race will be on the lead lap. So a mistake, JR, could not only knock you out of the top 10, it could knock you out of the top 30, 35th, and that could be very detrimental to your points. And what's also surprising, Mark Martin and a lot of teams behind me that you expect to be up front, they're starting in the back. Should be fun to watch to see if they can make it to the front and get those valuable points today, JR.
And Herbie, the contenders have told us this over and over again. With the points this tight, it's the one who makes the fewest mistakes that's going to make the chase and eventually win the championship. Let's look at who is in the running right now. And Tony Stewart mathematically can lock himself into the chase with a good run today. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon are realistically already in this thing.
And look at the championships here. I mean, incredible. You know, Jeff Gordon 4, Jimmy Johnson 3, Tony Stewart 2. I mean, these are the right guys up front.
A little back in the field we go. It's Kurt Busch, Hamlin, and Carl Edwards.
Well, you know, Kurt's been quiet. He's won at Atlanta early in the year, but, you know, he's solidly in this chase, I believe. Denny Hamlin, with that win last week, solidified himself. But here's Carl Edwards, who, if you told me that this guy has not won a race this year, I'd tell you, you're crazy.
You tell us that a lot anyway. Now let's go back to 8 through 12. This is where the rubber really hits the road. 68 points separates that.
I got an explanation quick. You have a dog, a male dog, and he's in heat. That's this guy, Kyle Busch.
A male dog can't be in heat, Jimmy.
A male dog, he's trying to get the women that's in heat. These 12 drivers.
Oh, my God.
Let me explain this to you, fans. You have a cage. There's 12 guys, 12 ladies, and you got this Kyle Busch. He's in heat. He is trying to get one of those guys out of this top
I'm sure
12.
Kyle's loving every minute of this.
And the end of the story
This is a highlight reel.
This is what it's all about, fans. Can he get to that cage into that top 12? I'm telling you what, I don't believe that Matt Kenseth and Biffle are going to surrender. I don't know who's going to fall out, but I'm going to tell you what, Kyle Busch got his hands full. But I do believe that he'll find his way through that hole, and he can't get in there. It's going to be interesting. Watch it today, baby.
Kenny, do you got a different way to put that?
Oh, it's a good explanation, Kenny. You know it.
I'm being asked by Scott Keith to be serious now, so I will be.
I was serious.
Yes,
what
you
is
were.
wrong with you guys?
You were very serious.
I love animals, and you have a male dog, and he's chasing them women. Okay.
Okay. One thing I'd like to say about Monday races, you know, Sunday, everybody's very uptight. They're very tense. Monday, it seems to go away. I look for a good race today, minimal cautions, and it just, Monday races breed a lot of calmness.
Which is what we need right now, calmness in this series right now, because it's been a wild couple of weekends, and it's going to be wild when they go to the double file restart down into turn 1 here at Watkins Glen International. It's one of the most treacherous turns anywhere, and when we come back, we'll talk to the driver, this number 2, see what he's going to do to get up front.
While the right turns cause problems for some guys, these 3 are smart bets at the Glen. We'll follow the twists and turns that led to this triumvirate, claiming 11 of the past 16 checkers here. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Road course racing at Watkins Glen dates back to 1948. We've had 26 Cup races here with 16 different winners, and among those winners, there seems to be 3 drivers who just take a certain liking to the Glen.
Mark Martin enters the Glen with impressive credentials. In 19 starts, 16 top 10s, and 12 top 5s, including an impressive 10 in a row from 1989 to 2000. And when Mark Martin starts up front, he can't be beat.
Mark Martin got himself a good start there. That's what he wanted to do.
In 1993, Martin overcame pit road problems.
And they have not been able to get the right rear tire off the Mark Martin kart.
To score checkers from the pole.
First win at Watkins Glen for Mark Martin. It's also his first ever road course victory, and it came in his 15th career road course start.
He liked winning from the pole so much, he did it again in '94.
And Mark Martin wins his first of 1994. Mark Martin wins the butt of the Glen.
And '95.
And Mark Martin is 3 for 3 at Watkins Glen.
We had to stop and get gas. We couldn't make it, and we had to pass those cats, so we kind of had to earn it today.
Jeff Gordon continued Mark Martin's winning ways and then surpassed them.
Here comes the road course king. Jeff Gordon takes his 7th road course victory, winning here at Watkins Glen.
Gordon has three-peats at both Sonoma and Watkins Glen.
Jeff Gordon has won the Bud at the Glen, his 8th win of the 1997 season.
Jeff Gordon, his 3rd straight win on a road course, the 7th win of 1998. For the 5th consecutive time, Jeff Gordon wins on a road course.
And looks to add another notch to his belt for his 2nd win of '09 and 83rd of his illustrious career.
Tony Stewart is going to win at Watkins Glen.
Tony Stewart took over the Glen domination, averaging a top 5 start as well as finish, including 4 wins over the last 7 trips to the Empire State.
Tony Stewart is going to win the Sirius satellite radio at the Glen convincingly here today.
Smoke looks to be in a New York state of mind and extend his lead atop the standings while adding 10 valuable bonus points when the leaderboard resets after Richmond. He's done it before and could do it again.
After spinning earlier this afternoon, going back to 20th, he's going to come home and win at Watkins Glen today. Tony Stewart gets the victory.
Here are the numbers behind the Watkins Glen Dominators, but when you look at Mark Martin, what's very impressive is 16 top 10s, but let's remember, this is Mark Martin's first trip to Watkins Glen in the new race car.
Also, Johnny, he has not won since 1995. That's some 14 years ago. You know, the thing is Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon starting way in the back of the field. It's going to be interesting today, Kenny. Can they save their brakes and stuff like that? I don't know.
And I think Tony Stewart in his era is one of the greatest road drivers in a long time. But one thing I'd like to point out, the last 3 races, last year, both of them were swept by Kyle Busch. This year, Casey Kane. Who will step up to the plate in this era? Tony Stewart was the man in his. Can he hold on to that era?
Now here's an answer, at least one answer to that question. One particular answer could be Kurt Busch. He's a great road course racer, has done very well at this track over the years, and he's standing by with Wendy Venturini.
Well, thanks, John. Right before that commercial break, Spencer was saying Kurt Busch is quietly up there in points, and that could be a good thing, Kurt, because you've snuck way up to the top 4th. You got a little bit of pad. It's almost good to be in that position right now compared to those guys that are a little bit deeper, closer to 12th.
Yeah, I feel like we've flown under the radar. We don't have that expectation, and yet we're like an underdog, so to speak. And then we're not in that group that's back there, 8th to 12th. That's a big mess. I've been in that before, and it's just you're stressing most of the time, every race leading up to the chase. And hopefully we'll be sitting pretty with 2 races to go before the cutoff. Atlanta and Richmond, we're looking to really jump on top of those tracks and try to get a win.
Now you're starting on the outside of the front row. Your car looks pretty good. You finished 10th here last year. What can we expect now that we had a day of rest, so to speak, and the racetrack's very green right now?
Well, yesterday you had that feeling of we're not going to race, but you have to be ready. Today, sun's out, we're ready to race, we're pumped up, and you just have to get into the groove, run your laps, and really it gets down to that pit strategy. When is the final time you're going to pit? And hopefully you've jumped ahead of all the others, and then you're going to have to hold them off because there's going to be guys like Johnson, Ambrose, Stewart's going to be strong, Gordon, Martin, all the same gang. It's going to be a tough battle.
Does this rain day kind of, when we rain out on a day like Sunday, does it give you a day to overthink too much strategy? Do you talk with Pat Tryson and go over too many details sometimes, or sometimes it can mess with the strategy a little bit?
I'm behind on my honeydew list. My pool's overflowing, the heat won't turn on, and I got to get home and get the blinds put up. I mean, I got stuff going on, and we're moving into a condo in Virginia, so it's been tough. We're just behind.
Oh, everybody.
Race car stuff. Oh, yeah, all that's fine.
Oh, yeah, race car's fine, too. Kurt Busch, looking forward to today, and I do have to say, a lot of the people on the Twittering said they were cleaning their motorhomes. Everybody's got a sparkling clean motorhome this morning, that's for sure. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy, and a lot of people know Kurt Busch when they turn on the TV today, but one thing cool about road courses, it seems like we always have a neat story of somebody who comes on the scene. One of those names is Andy Lally, and for our fans who are watching that are wondering, who is this guy who qualified 15th? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been real fortunate to make a career in sports car racing. I've the last bunch of years I've been in the Rolex Grand Am Series and have been trying to get into the Cup Series, the nationwide trucks. I've been having a lot of fun. I got to do 7 or 8 truck races last year, and Kevin Buckler and TRG Motorsports has given me the opportunity to come to my home state, my home track, and let me get a run at the Glen here. And it's been a dream come true so far. We've practiced decent and qualified really well, and just going to try to continue to keep that momentum going.
I remember the first Cup start I made back in Dover, long time ago. It's kind of a tough situation, you know, being a first-time starter, because you want to impress everybody, you want to run good, but you don't want to be the guy that causes problems for guys in the points. How do you balance that?
That is a tough one. I mean, in particular today, I'm starting behind Tony Stewart. I'm starting behind the points leader. I got a lot of really.
You don't want to boot him going in turn one.
No, that's not a guy you want to tick off going in your first race here. So I got a lot of respect for these guys. I'll have additional maybe buffer zone for the guys that are in the race for the chase and just outside the chase. So I'm just going to try to keep my head on my shoulders here. We want a good finish. Lead lap would be great. Top 20 would be better. You know, we'll see what happens as the day plays out. I think the track's going to be quite a bit different with all the rubber washed off here. And there's a lot of pressure on me that I put on myself, but on top of that, we've got a new sponsor here, taxslayer.com, that we're trying to drive a lot of people to that website and see what happens. And if that goes well, who knows, maybe there'll be other opportunities in the future.
And JR, a lot of storylines to watch today, but Andy Lally is a great story to watch. He qualified 15th. Be a good story for these guys. They keep it up front and have a good finish.
Yeah, Hermie, you got to like to see the look on the face of a guy who's about to make his first Cup start. That's very exciting, and best of luck to Andy Lally. Great qualifying effort. As Hermie mentioned, he'll start 15th. When we come back, Hermie gets us down to where the rubber hits the road, and that's on the racetrack here. And also a little later on, we have the real deal behind Marcus Ambrose.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Here on Speed, we like to pride ourselves with our crowds here at the racetrack. And you know what? We have to tell you, next weekend, NASCAR returns to Michigan as the race to the chase intensifies. More than bragging rights will be on the line in Motown. NASCAR on Speed, be there Friday at noon. Now, when it comes to crowds on Mondays, sometimes we don't get the biggest crowd ever, but here, the crowd is starting to build. We have one driver in the crowd with us. This is Max Pappas.
Oh.
Max,
hey, all right,
thank you for coming by, man. We got a crowd. We got a fan.
He looks good.
He's at least as enthusiastic as any crowd we've ever had here on race day. Thanks to Max for coming by. Good luck out there, Max. Now, depending on who you talk to over the course of this weekend, this road course either has 7 or 11 turns. NASCAR Race Control will be calling it 7 turns, but most teams will be referring to it as 11 turns. No matter how many turns you say there are out here, this is one of the most difficult places to race. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
And fans, welcome to our second and last road course race of the year. Watkins Glen, a high-speed racetrack. If you're trying to make left turns and right turns on a road course, very challenging. And turn 1 is probably the biggest passing zone on this racetrack. If you can outbrake your competitor, guys will start braking right here at the caution light. You see 300, 200, 100, and leads us to turn 1, a 90-degree right-hand corner. As you can see, a lot of room off turn 1. Very important. It leads us downhill right here to turn 2. Now, not a lot of passing in this part of the racetrack, but very important as it leads up through the S's. A lot of speed can be gained or lost through the S's heading to the backstretch. Once you come out of the S's, it brings you to the back straightaway. A high-speed part of this racetrack and also a very good passing zone. It leads down to the inner loop or the bus stop, whatever you want to call it. Thing to remember here, look, Look how narrow this entrance is to the inner loop. A lot of curbing here. You'll see guys taking advantage of the racetrack and the curbing to set up their next corner in the inner loop. The exit of turn 10 is very important because it sets you up for the final corner, a right-hander, turn 11. Turn 11 leads you back to the front straightaway and back to the start-finish line and what is hopefully a fast lap at Watkins Glen.
Hermie, thanks a lot. So what is it about this race course that makes it so tough?
Speed, very fast. But you know, Kenny, a lot of guys in the back here today. Can they get there?
You know, race fans, Spence brings up something really important. Everybody says, why is this track so tough? Well, you know, like he said, a lot of speed. But listen to this. Mark the Kid Martin starting 28th. Jeff Gordon starting 31st. Carl Edwards starting 33rd. Braking is a premium. Running 180 mile an hour, slamming on your brakes. It's going to be hard to see these guys come right to the front. But what a show. Every pass is very exciting. Every pass is like a thrill show.
And there's 11 turns here. Hermie said it on the show. A lot of areas to make mistakes. Tires will not be an issue today, fans. No problem at all with the tires. But Kenny, the speed, the braking. We just talked to Max. Max said 4 really hard laps, your brakes start to fade, Johnny. Big issue.
You know, Kyle Busch told Wendy yesterday that he was worried about his braking, and he was dominating last year because he was braking so well that he wanted to talk to his crew about the brakes on the 18.
You know what, race fans? Time changes, and people get smarter. You know, some 10 years ago, if we'd had brakes like this, you'd have won the race by a half a lap. Yeah. Every year, everybody outdoes each other. You have engineers back at the shop, they say, oh, we can cool the brakes better. Then you got a brake coming in that says, we can make better brake pads. It's never ending.
But you know what's going to happen today, I think? You hear about the brakes and the speed and everything. These guys can't afford to abuse their equipment. There's 90 laps here, and there's 12, 14 guys that have to really, really protect their positions. We saw a great move on Saturday in the nationwide race with Marcus putting a move on Kyle. It was a surprise move. How far are they going to surprise each other today, Kenny? I guess that's what I'm getting at. You know, is Mark Martin going to push the issue and say, I could pass these 2 guys now, or I'm going to wait? You know, the big thing is here, guys, it's going to be a heck of a great race today. I really believe that.
Well, let's go down now to Wendy Venturini, who's standing by with Martin Truex Jr. Wendy?
All right, thanks, Johnny. And we are here in the motorhome lot where things are heating up. Drivers are coming out, starting to join us on race day. Talking to Martin Truex Jr. All right, Martin, tell me a story. You're starting kind of mid-pack, 23rd, but you were good in happy hour. What does this mean when we finally do get some green flag racing? What is your car going to do?
Well, hopefully we'll go to the front. We've had a few good runs here the past few years, and you know, I enjoy coming up here, so I'm looking forward to it. Our car's been really good all weekend. I didn't do a very good job in qualifying. The track got hotter, we got loose, and I just didn't do a good job driving. So a couple of things came together there to get us starting where we are. But the car's been really good all weekend, and I'm looking forward to the race.
How you feeling this morning? I know the psyche of drivers kind of gets messed up, you know, standing around all day Sunday, kind of bored on Sunday evening, not much to do, and here we are Monday morning where you really got to go.
Yeah, I think it just, you know, gets us all ready to go even more, you know. We've been ready to go for 2 days, so hopefully everybody can keep their composure going into turn 1 and not cause a big wreck. But no, I'm looking forward to it. You know, like I say, I really enjoy racing here. This is a lot of fun. This is one of the funnest tracks that we race on all year long, and, you know, we've got a good car, so I'm looking forward to it.
Now, besides racing on Mondays, you have a lot of stuff going on with your foundation. You have an event coming up. Tell us how race fans can get involved with one of those events.
Yeah, they can go out on our website and check it out, martintruexjrfoundation.org. Our next big event, or 2 big events during the same week, will be the week of the Dover race. We're going to have our 2nd annual golf tournament, which last year was huge. We had a lot of support, and this year is going to be even bigger, so we're real excited about that. And we're having a poker tournament the day after that. So we've got a lot of people involved. We've got a lot of fans coming so far. We've got a lot of drivers, Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle. Newman's going to play in the Sadler, Michael Waltrip, Larry McReynolds. The list goes on and on. That's for the golf tournament. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Like I said, we've got a lot of support already. I want to thank the fans and thank everybody that's going to come help us out with that. And it goes to a great cause. We're going to help Southern Ocean County Hospital, which is my hometown, you know, local hospital, build a children's ward. They really, really need the facilities, and so we're going to raise a lot of money, help them build that, and it's going to be really neat. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, good luck to Martin Truex, who just gave us a full rundown of that event. Now, Martin Truex starting 23rd. We'll have a busy day when the green flag drops, as we know he has a pretty good car for today. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. We'll keep an eye on the #1 car as it makes its way through the field with Martin Truex at the wheel. When we come back, we're going to hop up into the car ourselves and take you for a couple of laps around this big track.
Ambrose, he's Australian for driver. And he's returning to the track where he posted a career best finish last year. Wendy chats with the man down under and gets some serious answers to some serious questions.
Do you really know Crocodile Dundee? Where do you keep your boomerang?
Around the Turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot here in Watkins, Glen, New York. On this Monday morning, we are getting ready to go racing, and we're glad we're here on this Monday morning. I bet Marcus Ambrose is glad to be here and hopes to get this Sprint Cup Series race in. This was his happy hour where he was fastest on the practice chart, and Saturday, which was days ago, 2 days ago, he passed Kyle Busch for that. Aggressive move right there and went on to win. Was in victory lane Saturday afternoon for the nationwide race. Marcus Ambrose celebrated his victory, had his wife Sonia here with his daughters Adelaide and Tabitha to celebrate that victory. It was a great day for Marcus Ambrose. Now, when we arrived here in Watkins Glen on Friday morning, Marcus and I decided to sit down for this week's Real Deal. You saw just moments ago before that commercial break, we had a little bit of fun doing some of those questions, but here are the serious questions with Marcus Ambrose and I in this week's Real Deal. ×2 on this Monday morning.
Marcus Ambrose goes to victory lane for the first time in his career.
There you go, mate. Hey, I can't believe it, man. What a day.
Now this track is home to your first NASCAR win in the Nationwide Series. The next day you came out in the Cup race. Best career finish that day of 3rd. How much were you looking forward to coming back here?
Well, you know, I've had such a great year already that, you know, anything's a bonus from here on in. We knew that the road races were going to be good for us if we finished the events. So for me, it's about managing expectations. It's not about one day, one race is going to make or break our year. It's just been a great season so far, and I just want to keep it rolling if I can.
All right, Marcus, I read in your press release this week that you had no expectations going into this year. We're past the halfway point. Has that changed? Do you start setting goals and expectations now that you see how well you're running?
Not really. I mean, for me, 2009 was all about making an impression, just trying to break into the sport and show people that I had speed and that I had some common sense and that I was worthy to be in the garage. So that doesn't change whether we're 18th in points or 28th in points. You know, for me, it's not about a points chase this year. It's just about trying to show my speed every week. If I've got a fast car, I'm going to try and pass Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson if I can, and do it safely. And that's what I'm all about, you know, and whether it's Watkins Glen this weekend trying to win it, whether it's, you know, the next Talladega, it doesn't really matter.
Where are you now that you have some time under your belt? Do you feel like you're proving yourself and you could compete with the best of them now?
Well, you know, there's a level of intimidation, no doubt, when you're up against such talent and experience like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. I mean, these guys are legends of the sport. And so to rub up against them just in the garage and on the racetrack, it's intimidating. And I've come in from such a different form of racing, and no one really knew who I was before the season started. It's been a real challenge for me just to fit in. I think, you know, as the inside paddock gets to know me, you know, things are starting to open up. It just takes time.
Answer me this. Are you fizzed up about your tin top this weekend? The boot and the bonnet, are they running well?
I'm all fizzed up, and the top's about to pop.
Top's about to pop. It'd be good to be right here come Sunday.
Yeah, it would be. I've experienced this victory lane one time, and it was a great experience, although doing the donuts on the front stretch was quite interesting because the track's very narrow there. You know, we're really excited about this weekend. We feel like we've got a great chance, but like I said earlier, it's about managing expectations. If we expect too much, then we'll trip over ourselves. So we just got to keep doing what we've been doing all year, and we should be okay.
And Marcus Ambrose said one of the toughest things about running this NASCAR Sprint Cup Series circuit has been the schedule and the adjustment of the NASCAR schedule. And here we are this Monday morning racing again. Takes away time away from home, which he said He enjoys learning about American stock car racing, but in 5 years, he can see himself going back to Tasmania and with his wife and 2 daughters to have them grow up in his home country. And I said, 5 years? You'll be out of NASCAR? I can't believe that. But nonetheless, Marcus Ambrose truly enjoying his time in NASCAR right now. And Johnny, you can tell it's a Monday. Everybody's laid back. Juan Pablo literally just walked by us right here, joking around, trying to get in our camera shot right here. It's been a fun Monday morning nonetheless.
Yeah, Mondays are always fun, and we get to see racing as well. And we certainly hope that Marcus Ambrose is around here with us for a lot longer than 5 years. I know it's hard to find the Vegemite around America, but we can have it imported for Marcus. When we come back, we'll jump up in the race car, take a couple of laps around the Watkins Glen International Road Course. This special Monday edition of NASCAR Race Day is coming to you live from Watkins Glen in the heart of the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Get set for 90 laps of nail-biting road course racing at Watkins Glen. The Biff, Greg Biffle, finds himself on the bubble with just 5 races to go before the chase, and Kyle Busch is only 101 points behind the Biff, but has a mirror full of guys hungry to pass him for a shot at the top 12. Names like Vickers, Boyer, Rudiman, all are within 20 points of the Shrub, and they are knocking on the door for a chance to make the chase. We have heard it said before, if you're on the inside of the chase, you're the man. If you're on the outside, you're a second-class citizen. So as we see a ton of championships, 9 to be exact, between these 3 guys, Tony Stewart has an opportunity to mathematically lock himself into the points today. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon could do that soon. Kurt Busch, with a win so far this year, starts on the front row with Jimmy Johnson, and Denny Hamlin is coming off an emotional win at Pocono. Carl Edwards has yet to score a victory this year. And take a look at just how tight it is. Kyle Busch, 101 points to the bad of Greg Biffle. Matt Kenseth, 102 points to the good of the Biff. And that is a total that could go away in a hurry. Now, the racetracks at Watkins Glen and at Infineon Raceway are both road courses, and that's about where the similarity ends. Isn't that right, Hermie Sadler?
Well, you're exactly right, JL, and it's kind of interesting when you hear, fans and teams talking about Daytona and Talladega, 2 super speedways, and they couldn't be any more different than they are as far as what you need to run good and win. And as you hear from these drivers coming up, Watkins Glen and Infineon, 2 completely different racetracks.
Well, I think they're a lot different, where Sonoma is a really technical track where you never really get that high speed, but you got to really set your car up for the next corner. You got heavy braking and you got forward biting, things like that. Where Watkins Glen is a very, very fast racetrack. It's not as many turns, you don't shift as much, but it's a big-time momentum racetrack.
Watkins Glen is a much more flowing racetrack. I love Sonoma. It's a great track, super technical, really tight. You got to focus on putting the power down coming out of the slow corners. That's probably the biggest difference here.
I like Sonoma, it's a lot of fun, but I've just always preferred Watkins Glen, just mainly because of the speeds and just the way the track is. The tires don't wear out as bad.
For me, not being a road course guy, it's not quite as technical, I think, as Sonoma is, so I like Watkins Glen a lot better.
I prefer Watkins Glen. It's my home state, and it's just a blast to fly around this place so fast.
I like Sonoma better because I run better there, so you're always going to favor the place you run better.
You can tell all these drivers, have different opinions on what they like better, JR, but one thing is the same for all these drivers. Watkins Glen is a fast racetrack, and these guys love speed.
Hermie, thanks a lot. We love speed as well, too. Let's jump up in the race car and take a lap around this place with none other than Marcus Ambrose, the winner of the Nationwide Series race Saturday.
Yeah, he took the start-finish line right there, fans. Big speed here going into one. Easy to lock your brakes up. Very important passing zone. You get set up here going down the hill. Serious downhill. A lot of throttle right here. Can head into these S's.
S's are where you can make up all your time. This is the fastest part of Watkins Glen. Race fans, looky here. 3rd, 4th gear right now, reaching speeds of 180 miles per hour. Now, this is incredible. You're asking for the car to slam on the brakes, slow it down, and look at this. From 180 miles an hour down to about 60, Jimmy Spencer.
And Kenny, that was the passing zone that won the race for Marcus Ambrose, and you'll see a lot of passing there. I think this is one of the most trickiest parts of the racetrack. You got to keep this right front fans, not left front, on that white line. Keep it down, because you're heading to this straightaway. Right here is about where you lift. There's a bridge right there that you pass over. the only high-speed left-hander on this whole racetrack right there. A lot of activity right there. Kenny, we saw a major accident here coming off turn 11 last year. Right here where it started.
And race fans, do you notice the concrete there? Very important to keep your car as low as you can in the corner because the radial tires used to tear up the old asphalt, so they laid concrete in the corners. Keep it low, keep your left side tires on the concrete, ultimate grip.
So you saw how much went on there in one lap. We got 90 of those laps coming your way from Watkins Glen International. Stay with us, everyone. More of a bonus edition of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is coming up. Several NASCAR personalities got together Friday night at Black Rock Speedway to throw some dirt and raise money for Motor Racing Outreach and Millie's Pantry, a local charity here in Watkins Glen. Guys like Rudeman, Allmendinger, Marcus Ambrose, even Dillner were among the competitors dicing it up in the Modified Sportsman main event. But probably one of the true highlights of the night was the number 99 hauler driver, a guy named Bob Decker. He was the big winner, and over 10 Cup teams competed in the Crew Enduro race, and that was won by Kevin Bono Mannion. As you can see, the guys were very happy. Any victory in a race is a good one, as you can see. Well, one driver who has eluded him right now, a victory who has eluded Carl Edwards, and that's very surprising to many competitors out there. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, catching up with Carl, actually on the way up to the car from the motor coach lot. I'll make a deal with you. We won't talk about qualifying. Let's talk about your car in happy hour. Look pretty good.
Yeah, it did. We were fourth on the board, pretty fast with our Aflac Fusion, and the weather looks good right now, so pretty excited about getting this race started. It was kind of weird yesterday to get in the car and, get right back out 30 seconds later, so real excited to get started racing.
Got a good record here, 3 top 10s and 4 starts. Can you win today?
I think if you took Marcus Ambrose and Jimmy Johnson and those a couple guys out of it, I think we've got a fast enough car to win. But you never really know on a long run. We didn't get to make long runs in practice, and that's where I've been the best here. And I didn't realize I had 3 top 10 finishes. That makes me feel a little better.
I do my research.
Yeah, that's good. So hopefully we'll have a good finish today. And really a win would be unbelievable. My goals this season are to win at Martinsville, win on a road course, and win the championship. So, but right now where we're at, I'll take some points.
Carl, that was one of those guys. Didn't get the qualifying run he wanted, but a fast race car will be fun to watch him make his way to the front. Wendy?
Thanks, Hermie. Right here on the pit road, we are with Sam Hornish, who starts 36, but in happy hour, your car was much faster than that. Is it going to race as well?
Well, I think so. We had some issues with braking pretty much all weekend. We were second in the first practice on Saturday, and I only got about half the session of happy hour. So we've worked really hard to try to get those issues worked out on the Model 1 Dodge, but you never really know until you get out there and get racing. So we're going to do everything we can do to try to keep them on the car, and I feel we've got a car that we can move up and run in the top 10. We just need to pay attention to fuel strategy and make sure that we get to the end.
How tough can this track be compared to our oval tracks?
Well, it's really tough here at Watkins Glen because you use the brakes so much, and the straightaways are really long, and some of the entries to the braking zones are bumpy. So all those issues make the front pads go away from the calipers or go away from the rotors, and then you have to pump them up to get in the corners. And it just definitely makes it one of those things that's in the back of your mind that you have to continually pump up the brakes, and you have to go out there and try to make sure you keep the brakes on the car. And we're going pretty fast into a lot of these corners, so if they're not there, it's kind of scary.
All right, good luck to Sam Hornish, who had his daughter Addie in his hands, and now his wife Crystal's holding her. It's a good family day this Monday morning, Johnny.
Wendy, thanks a lot. We are roughly 10 minutes away from the second and final road course race of the season for the Sprint Cup Series in 2009. When we come back, we'll get you down on the grid, talk to some of the competitors. They get ready to do battle with the Glen.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Next week, rubber meets pavement in the Motor City, where the kid took his 3rd checkered of the year back in June. The 99 tasted Motown glory last August, but Carl's still shooting blanks this season. Can he finish on top for the first time in 09? Live from Michigan, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Only one other time in history did the Cup Series race on Monday at Watkins Glen. It was back in 1987, and your first place finisher was Rusty Wallace. Now, as we take a look at our fantasy point standings, we find another Wallace in P1, and that is Kenna Wallace, as he is our leader in fantasy picks now as we head into our last road course. We got the Herminator on top, then it's Wendy, then yours truly, Mr. Excitement, and Hermie Sadler, 425 off the pace. Now, who's going to help us get back? Hermie's got the deuce. Wendy's got 47. Marcus Ambrose, I got the smoke. Senior Excitement has Robbie Gordon, and Hermie Sadler's got the 18 of Kyle Busch. For more on what's going on down on the starting grid, as we're moments away from the green flag, let's check in with Wendy Venturini.
Oh, thanks, Johnny. Yeah, Joey Logano just said real nice, Wendy. You didn't pick me, and I'm standing with Joey Logano, so he got to see my pick was Marcus Ambrose. Nonetheless, how is your race car? You've never raced Sprint Cup race at this track. Was this weekend your first time at this racetrack, or had you had a chance to run around it before?
I ran a nationwide race here last year, and actually came up here a couple weeks ago and drove a car around just to get some laps, do whatever I can do to figure out little things. But I think for the most part, our final practice is where I found a lot of different things on the racetrack that helped us and picked up a lot of time. So I'm confident we're going to go forward with the Home Depot Toyota today. And Zippy's going to have to make the big calls for strategy. That's going to be a real big deal. But looks like the weather's good, and that's the plus.
Now, you're still adjusting to the NASCAR big league schedule. What do you think about these Monday races, and how does it throw a wrench into your plan for the rest of the week?
Oh, it does a lot. I mean, it is what it is. It's the same for everybody. So it just feels different racing on a Monday. You know, you're usually racing Saturday, Sunday. So it throws a little wrench. We're going to go to Road Atlanta coming up, but now I'm not sure what we're doing anymore. So I leave that up to them. I just do what they tell me to do.
And we'll see how Joey Logano does. And I did want to get that. He took a little car around here a couple weeks ago, get some laps around Watkins Glen. Hermie?
Well, I got Elliott Sadler, the 19 best back car, qualified 19. How's your car?
Actually, I think it's pretty good. I messed up a little bit in qualifying, but actually Saturday in practice we got it really comfortable, and I like this racetrack. We like road courses, and going to try to play the fuel mileage game, but honestly I think we got a pretty fast race car. It's got a top 10 at Sonoma from 2 laps down, and same car here. Should be pretty balanced, should have fun.
You got a new racetrack, a green racetrack this morning. Any concerns on how the track may change during the course of the day?
I think it's going to be a little bit different the first 10 or 15 laps, but with 43 cars on it, it's definitely going to change and get tighter and lose its grip as we go. But the first few laps, we'll try to manage it the best way we can, and because it is a little green. But after our first pit stop, my crew chief looks at the tires, we should be fine. But we want to get 2 pit stops here. It's not like we can work on it. I think what we got is what we got.
These guys are looking for a good run today. Wendy?
Well, thank you, Hermie. I'm with Ron Fellows. And Ron, here we go. We're racing on this Monday afternoon. What do you expect out of your race car for today?
We actually got quite a bit better at the end of practice, so I'm optimistic that we're going to somewhere in the top 15 hopefully, and after that, who knows? We're not exactly where we want to be, obviously, but hey, this is the first Monday race that I've ever done.
And that is pretty cool. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. Now, when you look at a guy like Ron Fellows, we've seen him do it before. He starts in the back, but he works his way up through the field. There's no way, especially with the double file restarts, shootout style, that we're coming down into turn 1. Ron Fellows got exactly right. Anything can and will happen.
Oh, definitely. There's no question. You know, very experienced road racer, 1 to 24 hours, been all over the world road racing, so he knows what he's talking about. Kenny, he's the type of guy. The one thing of Marcus and Fellows and Lally, they're going to save their brakes. I think that they could be a factor later on in this race.
And you know, I'd like to make a profound statement. I always hear about
profound.
Yes, this is very profound. Road course ringers, you know, they're good, but they've never won a race yet in nationwide. But what road course racer has ever won a Cup race on the road course?
Well, we've seen surprising things happen today. Haven't happened this season so far, Hermie?
Yeah, I got Kevin Harvick. Now, you won the race back to the motor coach yesterday to get your first Twitter in. Can you win the race today?
I hope so. Our Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet has been decent. You know, we were just talking about trying to conserve our car and make sure the brakes around everybody's burning up the brakes pretty good. So we went a little bit conservative on that route with brake pads and such, and just got to take care of our car and see how the strategy plays out and go from there and have something to race at the end is the main thing.
Wendy, these guys are really turning the corner the last couple weeks. Kevin's good here at Watkins Glen.
Thanks, Hermie. I'm with Clint Boyer. We are close to getting started. Clint, oh, I just had a bee fly in my hair. Now it's on you. How's your race car going to be for today on this Monday morning?
Well, if I don't get bit,
it's your yellow.
Should be good, yeah. No, I think we'll be fine. You know, it's just nowhere to go but forward, so that's a good thing. I can get settled in awful quickly back here, and And you know, that's the biggest thing about this track is just getting settled in, getting comfortable out there, and you know, hopefully Shane's got good pit strategy. I know he's been working on it pretty hard, and you know, we need a good finish here. There's no question about it, and I feel like we can do it.
All right, good luck to Clint Boyer. They're getting settled in, and we are getting out of here, Johnny.
Wendy, thanks a lot. We are moments away from the green flag here at Watkins Glen International. We got 90 laps to go, and perhaps a huge shakeup in the points is in front of us. That is your points leader, Tony Stewart, and a driver who has won 4 times on this Watkins Glen road course before. The big question mark here today is that turn number 1 after double file restarts. So, folks, thanks for coming along for the ride with us this afternoon, and we will have Victory Lane tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time.